Worthy of the hype, FC Cincinnati gets revenge from last year and consciously uncouples the Philadelphia Union in the West End to advance into the Eastern Conference Finals. I keep saying each week what a great time it is for fans of this club, but then it just keeps going and getting better. Only one match remains before the official MLS Cup, but I imagine for many of us and you out there, it will feel almost like the Cup this weekend. Hell is Real 3.0 for all the marbles, extra hot and spicy edition on the menu. It seems like way more pride is on the line than could possibly be versus some whatever Western Conference opponent. At least that's my point of view. You're hyped. I'm hyped. Let's have an awesome show tonight because no matter which way you slice it, backwards, forwards, just looking at the news today, all signs point towards Cincinnati. And that's where this thing is going to stay as long as we're in it. Let's get the co-host in here to stop me from mixing metaphors, which I think I've done 4 of already. Welcome back to one of the OGs, Bryan Weigel. How you doing?
Good, bud. Just living on cloud 9. Gonna get ready to subtweet a bunch of my fellow or my former Columbus friends, and get a little massive on them, I guess we'll say. So I can't wait for this Saturday.
Yeah, it's already spicing up there outside on social media. I see the crew fans pretending to be FCC fans, getting tickets or trying to get tickets, and all kinds of hotness out there. All right, another. I guess since we're on the topic of OGs, we'll bring in Mr. Bill Wolf.
Just seeing back for this one. What a game! I mean, geez, that was phenomenal. Columbus, who would have scripted anything better for the final? It's all Ohio, right? Just all Ohio, baby.
Always has been.
Had to be this way. Had to be this way.
Yep. Oh, I love it. But yeah, great to be back and looking forward to this coming week. I think I'm still, easing off the high from last weekend though. So.
Yeah, it's a big one. Big one. Thanks, Bill. We look forward to your thoughts tonight.
Hold on, Bill. You are a drummer in the Bailey. You're way too freaking mellow right now. We got Hello's Real. No yelling in the Bailey. Wake up, my man. Let's go.
You haven't seen me drum. I'm like the most mellow drummer over there too. So
you must be a snare drummer or something.
I am. I'm just like to the point. Get the beat down. Make sure everybody gets their part. Do
that
my
is
job.
True. I have noticed. It's like Bill Wolf. Reliable drummer. They're doing his job, and then next to him is 2 guys in like criminal masks or something. Like Halloween mask, whatever you want to call it. So Bill, you maybe don't fit in, but you do a great job.
Yeah, I'm there to get the job done.
you just need
one of these days I'm going to break out like face paint or something.
Yeah, you need face paint, fangs, horns, something to fit in there.
If we make the final, Bill Wolf paints his body. Let's do it.
No freaking way in December.
No way. Last week it was already chilly.
Yeah.
All right. Joining us tonight also was at the MVP announcement today. Are you still hanging around the stadium, Geoff? I can't tell with that background. Is it TQL or is it your house?
No, it's still the house. And the good thing about it is that I believe ever since I moved into this refurbished little production area, we are undefeated, baby. So keep it going.
Go outside,
keep it going.
Throw salt over your shoulder, run around the house right now.
I love this though. I mean, if you guys, I don't know if you guys remember the meme where it had the 2 astronauts in space and then looking down on Earth, and one goes, "It's all Ohio," and the other one is, "It's always has been, baby." So it's always Ohio Derby. I mean, or something like that. It's great to see Columbus and Cincinnati in a game that matters a lot more than it did back in 2017. I love it.
And it's that's a take. I saw Brian's face there.
Hey man, I will say this, and I was going to hold it for later in the show. Jeffrey, you brought up now. Everybody's always going to remember that first game, the first crew.
Absolutely,
game. Yeah. And who wins? Everybody's never going to forget this game.
If it goes our way, yes. No one's ever.
Oh, they won't let us forget it if it doesn't, and we won't let them forget it.
I mean, it's great having like extra added benefits to it. I mean, having the only thing that would make things better is if we were both facing off for the MLS Cup. And considering that we're both better in the standings than the Western teams, it's going to be hosted somewhere in Ohio.
Mhm.
So Bill, speaking to you real quick, came up with a little bit better option than painting your whole body. Right? You ready?
No.
You like tattoos? I think we get a F the crew tattoo on your back shoulder, pal. Let's do it. Or tramp stamp,
Yeah.
something lower back.
Nah.
Come on, everybody. What do you think? If we have enough votes in the chat, I think we can raise money for this. So please vote yes or no for Bill Wolf getting a tattoo.
Bill,
Is this gonna be like Subs body painting himself going into the Bailey all over again?
Dude,
I don't
we
know.
raised like $1,500 for that for charity when it was paint Subs up.
I think Bill's going to need you to raise $15 million.
Yeah, I'm thinking about. I don't think I can afford the divorce, but
Oh man, we have to launch into this show. I think talking about Philadelphia is on the menu. Of course, we're going to talk about Columbus Crew. There's just so much to get into. This has been an exciting week. Of course, Lucho's MVP announcement today, and everything that goes with all these awards that we've had rolling into Cincinnati. Before we jump into it, Apollo is a proud sponsor of CST. If you're looking for a premium home service company for your plumbing, HVAC, or electrical needs, visit another winner at their website, apollohome.com, and support the group that's kept us going all season long. We appreciate it, Apollo Home. Along with our sponsors, you guys are up there, and of course, Beyond Exercise. Everybody keeping CST train going. FC Cincinnati keeping us on the mic by continuing to roll. And with that, we'll get into the best and worst. Bryan, we'll start with you.
My best, we're playing foosball in December, baby. I wanted that so bad, but I want another 2 more Monday shows, folks. So I really pushing for that. So, man, just the fact that we're here, love this. There was some talk about MVPs and coaches and who's done the best job, and like, oh, the Houston turnaround's the best thing I've seen all year. And over the year, okay, maybe, but like the fact that we're here in the final, and even though we won the Supporter Shield and everything, it's just tremendous. My son this past week got to walk on the field with Andre Blake. That was an amazing moment, and just the whole vibes and the whole city coming out, and you could just feel it was a big game. So I want more of that. I think that's the best of the week, and I'm sure we'll touch on some other things throughout, the show with players and things like that. Worst of the week, guys. I think I've said this before. It's going to come to haunt me a little bit, so I'm going to preempt this a little bit. So if you're watching live on YouTube, Facebook, X, you're going to see something that's horrific. Oh my God. Look at that ugly fella there on that screen.
Why would you do this to yourself?
I know. So, as most of you guys know, I used to be a Crew fan, but that's because there was nothing else going on at the time. And I wisened up. I changed my son from a Crew fan to an FC Cincinnati fan. So, I'm going to acknowledge my faults, but it's okay. If you were a Crew fan at one point, if you're a Crew season ticket holder, this guy down here, all's forgiven. We're burning that up. We're going to get a blessing by Opie the Great, Opie the Magnificent. He's going to bless your previous sins, and we're all going to be excited. My wife, God bless her, she's a wonderful woman, huge FCC fan. Her favorite shirt is this awful 8-year-old Columbus Crew t-shirt that she wears when she's cleaning. So let's burn that up, shall we?
Yeah, that's your job, is to make sure that disappears. We'll give you that task before the game this Saturday.
So, hey, worst of the week is what is. You're a former Crew fan. Nevermore.
Well, all right, we'll go to Geoff next in the best and worst. By the way, if you are typing your best and worst in chat, you may now put Bryan's picture as your worst. That is an acceptable one, and we will throw it to Geoff.
Look at them glasses, man. That's form fitting right there. Look at that. I had like the fossil watch on in that photo. I had dress shoes. Look at that.
Ripped the makings of a mohawk up there.
I remember fossil watches.
You are making us nauseous. If you could remove that, that'd be great.
It's a handsome little fella I'm holding in that picture, though.
Well, we've got something to roast Bryan by in the future, but I shouldn't really talk. I used to be a Louisville Cooper, so we all have skeletons and ghosts.
What
in
is
our closet.
wrong with all of you?
Anyways, I'll get to my best and
Growth,
worst.
personal growth.
Yeah, I think for the best, I'm going to have to give it to Yuya Kubo. I think a lot of people looked at what the starting lineup was composed of. No Obi, no Miazga, of course, no Arias. There was a lot of injury concerns there. And when the game that we needed Yuya Kubo to step up, he stepped up and played a very capable midfield. And he's left the very capable matches for those against Philadelphia. He had an assist to start scoring when they first scored in the 2-2 drop in Philadelphia. And he played an outstanding 89 minutes this past weekend. I was nervous. He proved things wrong. If he can, the next few games, crossing our fingers, if he can do that again, he's going to be going, he's going to be lifting a major trophy, even more important than the Shield in some people's eyes.
In some people's eyes. Thank you.
In some people's eyes. The worst, I'm going to have to say that the fact that performance is not going to defeat the Crew. I think I can commend Powell and Gaddis for being capable, keeping the Philadelphia's big three out of the box and really keeping the threat to a minimum. But we're going to need Miazga. We're going to need Obi. And to some extent, we're probably going to need Arias out there. I don't want to call it all hands on deck, but I think Columbus is a monster of a different color. We're going to have our entire team clicking on all cylinders to take down this crew team.
Oh, I can't wait to engage with that comment later.
That's my belief. I think we played really well, but I also think Philadelphia has taken a few steps backwards. So I think capacity to succeed was, I think, much higher in this past game. If you bring that to the Columbus game, though, I don't know if we're going to win that one.
Well, the thing that I like about going into this one is we won at home. They won at their home. And I felt, even though with the great season we had, something was left unsettled there. Maybe because I was at that Crew match and it just bothered me to lose in that building. So I know that there's some personal redemption type of stuff we could claim here with the win that would just be awesome. But I don't want to steal any other best and worst. Bill, we'll throw it to you.
All right. I'll throw some fun best and worst out as well as some serious ones. For me, one of the best is the fact that before we ever did the best and worst, I think our listeners were in the chat putting all their best and worst in. So I love the fact that everybody is so engaged and already knows what's coming and are getting theirs in ahead of us. So that was awesome to see as we turned in there to have all the best and worst scrolling up there. But for a serious one on the weekend, I think just the fact that we got a win against a very strong Philly with 4 defensive starters missing, I was very confident going into this game until I saw the lineup and I realized that Obi and Arias were not as far along as it sounded like they were. So no Obi at all and Arias on the bench. Hagelin also out, and of course Miazga suspended. Suddenly, like, our defense is not really our defense anymore, and that was concerning. And they did step up. So kudos to our team for making it happen and getting that win. So that was my best. As far as my worst, I guess you can take that exact same comment and say, we spent 3 weeks doing nothing. Well, I mean training, but no competitive games. We needed some opportunity to knock some rust off. Columbus played 3 games in the first round, had the least amount of rest time of any other team. So they're probably the sharpest in that sense. And, Obi, Miazga, Arias, all of them could have had an opportunity to knock some rust off this weekend, and they didn't. So they're going to be hopefully sharp enough come Saturday, but there is some concern there on those guys that have 4 weeks of not having played. So we'll see. And then I guess as another kind of a comment to your worst, Bryan, I just want to point out, my wife also had a favorite, clothing apparel. It was a stadium jacket from the Crew. So it was a full length, knee length stadium jacket, which was her warmest, favoriteest jacket. But unlike you, I years ago shut that down. And I got her a Pride Stadium jacket, and I told her she was no longer allowed to wear the Crew one. So, I just, suggesting maybe you just need to find her a new favorite and
good
insist politely.
Glad to see someone's got their household in order, Bill.
Exactly.
It's only like this guy didn't find a way to get his son on the field for the warm up.
Yeah, well, we see where your poll ends because he was still with the Union, right?
Not
if your son was with Lucho Acosta,
exactly. I'm going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Look at that fella right there. He's a handsome fella. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, you see little Bryan standing with Andre Blake. So, what the funniest part is? If you look at the photos, I was organizing all the kids and I was like, everybody behind Bryan, because I'm like, oh, he'll just get to walk with the captain. This girl snaked him, but it's cool.
Nice. Although I think we did talk about this on the show last week. We said if you could get anybody to pick Andre Blake, so it's not a.
Hey man, he rubbed some non-stickum or something on him.
So let's get into some of these on the chat here. Josh Sabers saying the best still here. Worst, what is the deal with Maddie? Josh, it's not a bad point. Although if we don't hear anything and the game starts, will any of us really complain? So it can stay dead for all I care, as long as it just stays dead for a while. David Moore, best, no ejections. Amen, sir, especially after watching that Orlando game. Worsts, no Obi. And hopefully, David, that is a temporary thing. Good news, though, coming out of this week, if it's not already in the rundown. Sorry, guys, that Obi is expected to be in the next game and is better, according to Noonan. Just kind of a late scratch there. Not sure fully what happened. Jay Yates, best everything. Jay's on cloud 9, apparently. Especially Gaddis and Powell playing their hearts out. Jay, I love this take. It is also my best. The Gaddis-Powell combo was outstanding. What I think most of us went into that match with a pit in our stomachs when we saw it, just because it's an unknown. It's not what we were expecting. And then it turned out to be one of the assets on the field.
Yeah, they were like combined age of 70 shutting down Philadelphia, right? I
like that.
I mean, go ahead, Geoff.
Honestly, we got really lucky, I think, in this game. I mean, we weren't facing Kai Wagner on the left there. If he was in this game, he probably would have diced through Ray a few times.
Yep.
100% agree. Plus the fact that when every time Ray got the ball on that right side, the ball went to die. So, I mean, I love the fact that, Ray and Alvis and those guys did great, but there were some major deficiencies when that pairing is on the field.
Bryan from YouTube, worst, waiting 94 minutes for that goal. Yeah, that was the suspense. The suspense.
That's the best, Bryan. That's the best, man. That way they couldn't come back.
Exactly. No chance to counter.
You saw how they deflated out there. That was incredible timing.
Yeah, my heart wasn't happy with the 94 minutes, so I'm with Bryan on that one. I mean, once it happened, sure, but
I was saying my heart was fine with it. I was thinking they were going to extra time, and I was like, "I'll take it."
Let's call the best that we're still waiting for the Philadelphia goal.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a call out for the depth. I think that's going to be a big topic tonight as well. Kevin Cooney, also on YouTube, best no uncle. Of course, had a controversial game this weekend. Got a couple shouts here. Costa, overall, Cincinnati's play, I guess, really is the winner here on the best and worst tonight. My best was stolen. My worst, I don't know. It's a toughie. I think everything went pretty well on Saturday. I guess the worst is Rozzy Fireworks is probably out of them, and I don't know how we're going to get ready for this Crew game because FC Cincinnati set off every firework in the city of Cincinnati before the game, during the game, after the game. That stadium is shot more. I've been a season ticket holder for 6 to 7. Yeah, ever since we've been in existence, and let me tell you, never seen so much pyrotechnics. I do wonder if FCC can top themselves this weekend on short notice. If that's the least of our concerns, who gives a crap?
I mean, they also broke out the talent too. They brought Rose Lavelle in.
Yeah,
to do this.
How do you top that?
I don't know. Kate said they're going to have more pyro at every game as they move forward. So
his Twitter handle is Letty Manu.
Letty Manu.
I will give a suggestion, Joey Votto.
I like Letty Manu.
I like Letty Manu as well.
I liked the Votto idea a while ago, but now it feels not as cool. I don't know why.
And, maybe he's selling his house and wrapping things up, and he's in Cincinnati. So we'll see.
Yeah, you get the Lavelle Thanksgiving, so could have something similar there, right? All right, let's turn the page. FC Cincinnati wins 1-0 over Philadelphia. Immediately, the lineup comes out. No Arias, he's on the bench. No Obi. I was shocked. My face fell to the floor. Worried. Little fear crept in, crawled up my spine. How did you guys feel?
Terrorized.
Geoff?
I was what was the term? Squeaky bum time? Is that what they call it in Welcome to Wrexham? Where you're really nervous. You had no idea what was going to come out. You knew that Powell had experience there as the right center back. You knew that Murphy's had issues as left center back next to Mosquera. You knew that Mosquera got the red card against Philadelphia the last time they played. So you just did not know what would happen. But as time went by, the confidence crept in. You saw Kubo playing his heart out. You saw Powell being at least strong enough to keep the straw from breaking. And once I think I probably called it when Martinez went out with the injury for Philadelphia. I'm like, that's it. That's our opportunity. Let's attack right there.
100% agree with you there, Geoff. I was under the stadium with the kids, getting everybody ready, getting their jerseys on. Cool jerseys for the Wildcat kids, by the way. Good job, Audi. And me and like 5 employees, I'm like, did you guys see this? They're marketing, they're invested, but they don't know the lineups. And everybody's just like, oh, no, Obi. And that, I was like the feeling I had. I'm like, this is going to be, by with the skin of our teeth or whatever. I don't know the damn line. And yeah, I mean, I was petrified, and no Arias, hoping maybe he can get 30 minutes out of it. Yeah, I mean, Obi was such an integral part, but you look on the opposite side and then you see who Philly started, and they were going, like, you could see right away with Bedoya in the midfield, like, these guys aren't going forward. They're going to try to, bunkers, probably not the right word, but they're going to concede space outside, and they're not, they're going to take advantage of, trying to play direct later on. But, fortunately, I think they were kind of banged up too. And nobody was really going for it. Is that the right word? Maybe no, it didn't feel like either team was going for it right off the bat.
Well, like, heaven forbid I doubt Jim Curtin, who I think has proven himself very tactfully in Major League Soccer, and is probably one of the better coaches in this league. But you have to wonder if in this case, for this game, he made the wrong call and not challenging FC Cincinnati, not coming at FC Cincinnati. Have Acosta, Barreal, Bupenza all become so scary that counter is just, sitting in the back of these coaches' minds, and they refuse to take it, and the defense is the answer. I mean, it worked for most of the game, but it did eventually break down.
Yeah. I mean, so we started out with a lot of possession, some decent chances, but they kind of changed tactics halfway through the first. I want to say maybe, like, I know we had like 70% possession.
Yeah, it was obscene at some point.
Was it meaningful? Like, I see like Todd here in chat, we were peppering them off at the start. Like, we had some good chances. You had some disconnect with Kubo and Bupenza and Acosta and Bupenza and Vas. Oh, sorry. Ran off that tangent. But, as I kind of said, we were having those issues getting that attack off the right side. And I didn't feel like Barreal was efficient off the left side. Whereas we were both, I think, Boston, you said we were a little rusty, but also, I mean, we weren't really pressing too hard. We were worried about, they were worried about our 3. We were worried about their 3. We weren't opening ourselves up.
And I think these days everybody knows what Barreal can do, and they don't give him as much space as they used to. On the right side, they weren't as worried about it, right? So Gaddis probably had quite a bit of space.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it was like Justin Hoyt was on the team again there for some of
Yeah.
the time. I sit on the right side, and it was funny. A lot of the players or the fans were screaming,
Gaddis
"Just give
is
Gaddis
open.
the ball!"
No,
Yeah, Gaddis
dude, it's
is
amazing
open.
how Gaddis would get the ball and Lucho would just be like, run right to him, like, give me the ball right now. Sorry.
Well, those of us that have watched enough Gaddis, we know he's unlikely to go forward. Although he did have a couple surprise moves in this one, he's more likely to back pass it. And I think that's where Lucho runs in to help. Just my random observation. Anything that stuck out to you, Geoff?
I think the whole thing with Gaddis and Powell, early on in that game, they were challenging. I think Philadelphia was definitely stacking the right side. They were challenging Gaddis to try to come up his right side. And a few times it circled around. It went to Powell, it went to Gaddis, and there really wasn't anybody from Philadelphia there to challenge. And so it felt a little mysterious at first. I think they were treating Gaddis a lot like, that they felt that it was like a 10-man field, that Gaddis really wasn't much of a concern. The first yellow card came from Gaddis, that he was still playing a physical game, and he wanted to give what he could out of that team. So I'm glad that he played all 90 minutes and he stayed tucked in after that. So,
was that not the biggest smile on the face of the earth?
Oh my
after
God.
Ray Gaddis got that freaking yellow card. Everybody in my section was dying.
Yeah.
That
was a Cheshire grin.
but at the same time, I'm like, I think Philadelphia, they were in bunker mentality. I have to say, Elliott, he played probably the best game out of the defense there. He was frustrating both Bupenza and Vasquez when they approached the box. So I'd have to say, it was a frustrating first half. They could have scored, they could have progressed, but the defense just was doing. Both defenses were stuck together with tape, and they were doing really well.
And the fact that you could drop, you had Martinez, you had Bedoya, you had the other midfielder just clogging that space for Lucho. I mean, he couldn't get many meaningful touches on the ball in dangerous areas. And if it was, he'd have to drift way out wide, and who's he going to connect with?
At the same time, though, then you saw, Kubo pulling back and controlling a lot of the ball in the midfield early in the first half. You saw Moreno doing a good job, at least playing maybe Obi's role a little bit more, being the defensive midfielder.
Yes.
And I think that worked out in the first half. It just couldn't punch through because the defense was clogging it. Martinez and we had a lot of chances on goal, a lot of possession, but we just didn't have anything in the final third.
So my only thought is more Boop, less Boop being creative, because I loved his shot, and I love when he pulls, some trickery and tries things. I mean, we want that out of a DP a little bit, but we just wanted to execute versus what happened, like that give and go with Kubo.
Yeah. I think.
And then there was the little dribble thing he did, the head to the feet and the backwards kick at the end line that basically put the ball at the top of our box.
Was that the second half?
Yeah.
When right before he got subbed out.
Yeah, right before he got subbed out. Exactly.
I leaned over to my brother. My brother. I'm like, I think Noonan has had enough of Bupenza.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Some games he seems to connect really well, and then other games it looks like he's going for that glory moment. If it hits, I don't think any of us would complain. But yeah, the shot from distance, you could argue it both ways. It might have been the best option at the moment. However, if he had slowed it down a little bit, maybe something else comes out of that.
And sorry not to kill you here. The one thing you can say about Boop this week, he was not lacking for intensity. He wasn't lacking for effort. He was doing defensive work. He was chasing down things. Was he always on the same page as Lucho? No. But I mean, the guy wants to be there. He wants to win, and you can see it. So I don't know if you guys saw like this. Like, I get mad about this too, but like during the MVP video today, like the video release with Lucho and the team and everything, like everybody's there celebrating Lucho, and like Boop's there with his phone again. It pisses me off so much. But it's like, he's trying to be a part of it, and he's trying to simulate in his own way.
Yeah, I think though, not to turn the page too fast, but that's the guys you went out there versus Columbus. To be honest with you, a team that's going to give you way more space than Philly did. Philly packed it in. They were there for that extra time, like we said, and then Columbus plays an entirely different style. So just a little bit of preview of what we're going to talk about later on that, because it's almost going to be two entirely different games, and so you need different strengths and different skill sets out there. I think we're going to get some of that back. All right. Before we turn the page on the defense, though, Bryan, you have, I guess, what you call the play of the defense. Have you talked about this yet?
Oh, yes. So people were talking about how great the defense was, and especially like with Mosquera and everything. But I kind of want to almost put it back a little bit on Noonan and how he got the team ready. Like, you look at this, Kubo didn't play next to Moreno, or didn't practice next to Moreno for like 10, 12 days. And Mosquera didn't practice in between the, Murphy and Powell the past two weeks. And the fact that they can come out with 2 days of practice and perform the way they did is, again, a testament to Noonan, a testament to the professionalism of these guys. And I know they've had, 10 months, freaking nuts how long we've had the season going on. But like, that's just like, this team's well drilled and it's well coached, and nothing shows to me more than these guys hopping off a plane, having 1 day of practice, and shutting out one of the top teams in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Very well spoken. Honestly, great thought. Kubo and Moreno joint together in the midfield, also something you briefly just mentioned it there, but we don't see that. We don't really see that combination hardly ever. Usually Kubo's a sub in for somebody when we need it, and Junior Moreno quite often.
Yeah, I would say usually it is Moreno.
Yeah.
So my brother had this comment today at work. He's an idiot. Do you guys think that Kubo is a better fit versus Columbus than a 75, 80% Obi? The fact that Kubo is able to hold possession more so than Obi, and we're going to need that versus Columbus. Boston's just giggling right now.
It's going to be tough because, I mean, the midfield for Columbus is all-star caliber. I mean, Darlington Nagbe and Aiden Morris have really been that glue for them in the middle. It's not the same as an older Ali Bedoya. It's not the same as Martinez coming out in the 77th minute. It's not the same as, I mean, Philadelphia was missing Leon Flock badly, the guy that scored for them last year. He's out for the season. This is not the same midfield. And that's what concerns me a little bit. We're going to need Obi's defensive presence at some point in this game. We're going to need him to clog up the middles. If that means we sub him in later in the game so that we can have those, 75% of the energy tank, fine. But I would rather start him. And then if it looks like he doesn't have what it takes, then you bring in Kubo and have Kubo there for penalty kicks if necessary. That's the thing that with Kubo, I was concerned that we would lose him. We would lose him as a penalty taker if we had to go 120 minutes. So I want to see Obi start.
Brian Biedenbach, if you're clipping this episode for Instagram, that's the clip right there. Geoff Tebbett's with the point of the night.
No, I'm going to throw another one at you, though, because here's the thing. Obi causes chaos, and he throws offenses off their groove. Whatever Columbus is planning, the plays they're putting together, the free kicks, Obi is going to run at a guy and make him change his lane. He's gonna make that pass go a different direction, and that's what I think Obi brings to the table, and I definitely have Obi in as long as possible. Any thoughts, Bill?
I can't disagree with either one of you.
Bills, you're just looking like Aristotle down there with the nice pose with your
I'm so thoughtful right now.
Looking good, bud.
I think the important thing is, Obi played both games for the Crew against the Crew. the big piece that we didn't have in that second game was Miazga. I believe he was out because of suspension.
No Miazga, no Mosquera till late on, I think.
No Mosquera.
No Mosquera at all. No Mosquera at all.
No
in that
Mosquera at all.
second
No,
game.
no.
Yeah.
So we had that was the game that we had Gaddis as our left wing, left center back of all things. So you look at that 3-0 game and it's like, yeah. If we have Miazga, if we have Mosquera and Murphy, I feel good about a 3M back line there.
Something I haven't really seen talked about much, and we'll just quickly run by it. It's the 70th minute, and I don't think there's been a single sub except for maybe an injury one somewhere around there. How wild was that? Philly and Pat Noonan both keeping all their cards.
Yeah, neither one wanted to blink first, right?
Yeah, it was wild.
Amen.
And I'm sitting there, we're both scoreless, and I'm sitting there going, what's going on? Like, what's the chess game out there?
The same chess game was being played in the other game, Orlando and Columbus. There was no substitution until Orlando's hand was forced with the red card. They had to bring in 2 players. And even then, Columbus didn't make a single substitution until extra time when they brought in Christian Ramirez, who got the first goal for them in the 93rd minute. So, yeah, it's weird, but the playoffs are weird in general. I mean, you're going to be saving, I think, a lot of your talent for when you think you might need it for penalty kicks.
Is it a little different if we didn't have a 14, 21, whatever day break in between some of these games?
Tired.
In all honesty, like I know Malik Pinto or Angulo for Moreno's a tough call early on, but like, man, 60, 70 minutes in, I'm like, Moreno looks like he played in a game on Tuesday when 85 minutes flew for how many hours and had 1 day of training. And I was waiting for it. And I was shocked. I thought we would have tried to press it more early. But this is again, like where even though we didn't win, we won, but we didn't have to sub a bunch early. I still feel like our depth is a big asset for this team. And, to bring on Baji to change up a little bit and, Pinto and Angulo, those guys, Santos, he didn't play, but, or maybe for a little bit, but, I thought for sure that we could go after it sooner than Philly. And I was just really shocked that Noonan didn't want to do that.
Yeah. Clifford Adams saying, I think it's pretty easy to see they were banking on extra time. Philly was, Clifford, but I would argue that FC Cincinnati was still pushing pretty hard there.
I would say that if anything, Noonan might be thinking back to the Open Cup. Because if we think back to the Open Cup against Miami, I think we pulled some key people off a little too early. And then Miami tied it up, and suddenly we had
nobody.
Extra time and nobody. And even our PKs were a little scary.
I mean, you can also say that if you're bringing back Miazga, if you're bringing back Obi and Arias, you wouldn't want to play them in that game. You'd want to play them for hopefully the next game. So rolling the dice and having them have this game up. I mean, obviously Miazga is an involuntary day off, but now you're going to have at least a few more days of rest for those guys. So playing some of your guys 80, 90 minutes, I'm not that worried. If it went to 120, then I'd be worried.
Yeah.
Clifford Adams saying, I want everyone to remember Noonan is MLS Coach of the Year. Yes, but also, not everybody's infallible. Just look at our tweeting this weekend. I'm joking, but
I mean, it worked, right, Clifford? So you're not wrong.
And also, you're playing against one of the ex-coaches of the year.
To be honest, the bench wasn't as strong as it normally is, so you have that. But Arias never coming in for Gaddis, I found weird since he was on the bench,
100%,
which tells me he's ready to go. That was probably the biggest surprise.
Arias was listed as questionable at the stadium, which I thought I wasn't sure what was going on there, right? Because he was on the bench, but then when they listed the injuries, they listed Obi and Arias as questionable. So I wonder if they scrapped Obi before the lineup and then scrapped Arias after the lineup.
I mean, it's possible.
I'm surprised he didn't come in either.
Yeah, I didn't really see that one in the presser. Geoff, you were there. Did you hear anything? No, it was Justin, wasn't it?
It was Justin. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
honestly, I was like, if they're not attacking us really hard on the right, I see no pressure to bring Arias in. I would have been fine if they left Arias for the last 30 minutes of extra time if they brought him in for the extra period.
And that may have been the plan. It just never happened. Thanks to
All right.
Mosquera.
Thank you. Thank you, our son.
All right, we got it. We got to touch on it. I want to move on to Columbus, but the infamous the Twitter fight, the feud with Philly fans and Cincinnati fans that has taken over the internet, at least for the immediate evening. I think it's pretty much died down and fizzled into nothing as more angles came out. But,
and everybody started talking about KC and Houston instead.
Yeah, because they kind of trumped us with the handball thing. So a close call with FC Cincinnati's goal. Barrial free kicks it into Murphy, who heads it down to Mosquera. Right, that's the order of events, and Mosquera kicks
Who takes it like a 9.
Mm-hmm.
So let's walk it back a couple minutes.
Sure.
So Martinez goes out. Chaos starts to ensue in their midfield. We start pushing a little bit more. Baji gets fouled like 3 times after subbing in. This play, short kick to Barrial. And nobody from Philly goes after the guy.
No pressure.
And Barrial puts a great ball into an onside Murphy, who's 1v1 maybe to a header to Mosquera. And everybody's ball watching. Okay, so regardless of offside and other things, we played an amazing play. Our defender stepped up. Mosquera took a sublime touch. I mean, that's what it is, guys. Like, screw 3 inches. Like, that's not what the offside. That's not what VAR is for. Yeah. I mean, it's our guys executed. At the end of the day, the talent pulled through.
Your argument is Mosquera should have never been that open.
Hell yeah.
And Murphy shouldn't have been that open. And Barrial should have been given more.
Shouldn't have been that open.
Right. I mean, basically, nobody from Philly protested. Nobody was raising their hand and saying offside because they knew. I mean,
they got beat.
They took a nap for 1 minute, and we executed a perfect play and scored.
It's what we did versus Miami to lose.
Yep.
We switched off for 2 seconds because we were tired, and we wanted that whistle.
Yep. I think looking back at the play, just to look at Murphy's move a little bit and his questionable offside, I think at first when I saw it, I thought he might have been offside because he reacted slow to the cross. That you could see him dipping his head back onside or what looked like onside, as if, oop, I'm offsides. I got to get myself into position. I thought they were going to call just based on that. But really, when you look at it, it's hard to see drawing any lines. You're going to have a little bit of doubt no matter what. So you have to use the initial call. That's the only thing I can think.
The initial angles that came out, especially the ones they were showing on TV right in the moment, were not a good look. For Murphy. And that's the problem with the diagonal angles. I mean, even the CST, the reputable CST Twitter account got it way wrong using those initial angles and the initial pictures. So what happened though, then probably the ensuing hours after the game, and then especially the day after when some of the more credible analysis accounts kind of came out. Yeah, definitely neutral. Neutral being a great word for it. Probably the account I admire the most said, yeah, Murphy was probably barely off, but not enough for VAR to call it. And then you actually see probably one of the better angles that makes it way closer than we saw on television.
Yeah, they actually said on the broadcast after the game had ended that I don't know if it was the VAR group or whatever, but MLS basically came out and said there was a camera at the 18-yard spot that they used as the definitive angle that they felt was clear.
So. And even if there was 3 inches or whatever, I mean, if you're that ref in the speed of play and you're checking that down, you see a white jersey, regardless if it's his arm or shoulder, even just slightly in front of Murphy, like you're going to give that to Murphy. I mean, 99 times out of 100. And I mean, let's look back at Mosquera, man, to have the poise to take that ball down like he did and finish that bottom left corner. I mean, it's not goal of the year, but that's still pressure. And I've seen our forwards miss that 20 times this year.
If I could offer a little bit of creative criticism, I do want Sergio Santos to give Mosquera a little bit dancing lesson before he does his celebration next time.
Dude,
he didn't know what to do with his legs.
Did anybody else have an out of body experience during that moment? Like, seriously, like it was right in front of me, like hugged my neighbor, my son, like group hug everybody around us. Like that was just a moment where you're just like, holy F, what did I see? I mean, that was a top 3 moment for me in FCC history.
We were partying so hard in my section that if it was actually called back, we wouldn't have known what the hell happened because we were so distracted for so long. I wasn't even facing the field for like a good minute and a half. I was hugging everybody 3 rows behind me. So
I'll tell you what, though, I did clench a little bit when I saw that ball thrown back towards Blake to take a goal kick or whatever, a free kick from there. I was like, oh my Lord, that can't be happening right now.
Yep.
This place will go nuts.
yeah, it would have been the loudest boo in TQL Stadium history.
Oh man.
Sheesh. I'm glad it didn't happen. If it's too close to call, just leave it be. And I think that ended up being the right move. Not everybody on the CST staff may agree with me because we got 14 people here, and some of us are. I'd say I'm definitely more of a fan kind of a analysis, but we have more true journalistic types and former editors, and some way more highly skilled people around here than I do that take more of an analytical approach. So you get kind of a view from all sides. I think though everyone on staff is happy that stood, and so overall pretty cool. And so let's move on though. Real quick, let's take it. We are definitely behind schedule. I hope you guys are cool with that because
baby.
We're gonna dive into this Columbus Crew thing. Before we do that, let's give a shout out to Beyond Exercise, our second half sponsor, local physical therapy and fitness business that helps anyone get active or stay active. In fact, they've helped Nick Haglin and Brandon Vasquez with their physical therapy and strength training during the off seasons. And currently they are offering a $50 discount for their ACL injury prevention screen, which was piloted with Nick and Brandon. Learn more at gobeyondexercise.com. Brand new facility. You want to check it out. Get in touch with Cincinnati Soccer Talk at Cincy Soccer Talk. You can email us feedback at cincinnatissoccertalk.com. Or yeah, that's probably about it.
Don't worry, we heard from you all this week.
Hey, we deserve. We've been around a long time. We will happily eat our crow when we deserve it. All right, segment 3-ish, I guess we could say. Let's dive into Lucho MVP real quick before we get into Columbus. I want to hear from Jeffrey Tibbetts, who was down at the stadium today and got to hear from Lucho himself.
Yeah, it was a really good, crowd that showed up. A lot of the team was there, especially a lot of the younger players. I think a lot of Malik Pinto and, a lot of the FCC2 players were also there. Haglin was there on his crutches. Miazga was there, Vasquez. A lot of I think the bigger voices of the team were there to support him. And after all of the introductions and the speeches, when Lucho accepted it, he got pretty choked up. I think this means a lot to him in terms of his position within the team, within the city, within the league itself. It's not something that you get all the time. I mean, this is the MLS equivalency of what Messi won, the Ballon d'Or, if you can call it that. So I think the moment got to him. Afterwards, he sat down with the press and gave us 15 minutes of some well thought talk. But a lot of what he wanted to stress was that even though this was an individual award, he's definitely still in it for the team. That the MLS Cup is still the goal in the end, and that individual accolades mean a lot, but team accolades mean even more to him. And so it was great to see that moment of clarity with him.
Yeah, I love hearing from Lucho because he kind of does the perfect balance of accepting it and yes, I've performed well, and then also thanking the people, and genuinely, you can genuinely hear it in his voice. He respects the crap out of Pat Noonan. And he gives so much credit to this coaching staff and his teammates. And I think Lucho's probably the happiest soccer player in the United States, being where he is.
So there was a video preseason last year when Pat Noonan, it was a training video, and Pat Noonan singled out, there's a little clip of him basically like, Lucho needs to get the ball into this space to be successful. And that's been the mentality, is make sure we get the players in the right spaces and we'll succeed as a group. We'll succeed as a team. And this is what it is. I mean, Lucho is a stellar player on the field. He's a great individual off the field with his family. How many photos do you see on Twitter, on Facebook of him at club tournaments, at Kings Island, and at the mall? I mean, he's all you can ask for. And we gave him so much crap. And I feel guilty for every mean tweet or anything, because this he's been a gem. He's been a dream. And I couldn't think of a better face for the franchise than we've had with Lucho.
Yeah, we didn't get all of our votes right this year. We voted for, I think Geoff was our official voter this year for the media awards. You did vote for Lucho Acosta, right, Geoff?
Oh, absolutely. It was hard not to vote for Lucho.
I thought he was going to say like you voted for Berkey or something here, bro. Holy crap.
No. No, I honestly, I mean, if you look at the numbers, a lot of people will say if this was an award for the entire North American, U.S. North American season, you probably have a good argument for Dennis Bouanga. I mean, he scored goals up the wazoo in Leagues Cup, in a CCL tournament. He pulled that team through the mire and muck in LAFC, but it's not a complete, resume. You have to look at just MLS performances, and Lucho had the most consistent numbers, tied with Thiago Almada for most goal contributions. And he's improved every year. That's the most important thing that I can just point out to people. He is MVP caliber because he has developed himself into that player, bar none. I mean, myself and 80% of the media agreed that he was MVP of the year.
Yeah, the players did as well. The clubs did as well. I mean, it was by far the biggest runaway out of all the votes.
Yeah, if you look back, it's been since like 2019 or whatever, with Carlos Vela being like 80% of the vote. Like, he ran away with this thing. Like, people were trying to dish on him, like, oh yeah, he only got 49% of the player vote or whatever. And dude, that's like more than what anybody's gotten, like, or like besides Vela in the past decade. I mean, the dude's just killed it this year. And I don't mean to be a jerk by saying this, but like, I saw people with Houston being upset about Hector Herrera. I saw people being upset by Bouanga. If you're championing somebody else, you have a bias. You either have a bias, which, okay, if you're the Houston guy or LAFC guy or St. Louis, what it is. But you either have a bias, you're trying to be too smart, like you're trying to be too cute. Like, you saw all these media members like, oh, Berkey. Dude, he got like 88% of the media vote, whatever it is. Or you're just not paying attention. And that's what drives me insane about this league. The fact that a guy that is this good this year has not just been, I mean, everybody needs to see that he's been the best player this year. And it's just been an outstanding season overall by Lucho, and what he's done with a rotating cast of characters in front of him. And just power to the guy.
Yep. I'm not sure what else can be said. Other congratulations to Lucho. You definitely deserved it in my eyes, and as well as many, many others. So enjoy that shiny trophy. Can you put that up again? That thing is nice looking.
Hold on.
That might be nicer than MLS Cup, in my opinion. It's smaller, but man, that is a cool looking trophy.
I know it was heavy, Geoff.
It was heavy, and it came in a Tiffany and Company case. You saw the baby blue case that he had to open up to get to it. And so it's quality stuff.
Yeah.
I want to know where he got that jacket though on that photo there.
Someone's gonna
good.
tell me where he got the sneakers, the black, brown, and white high top sneakers. I've been looking all over for them. Those are sweet kicks.
Well,
Not
real
those kicks. No, not those kicks.
real quick. Okay, so like on this MVP trophy, yeah, actually you can see it better in this picture. It's the MLS script, 3 stars, which is kind of like the trophy, but then it has like Landon Donovan's, what do you call that? Silhouette.
His profile.
Yeah.
That to me should be the logo of MLS. I like that.
No, not Landon Donovan though, right?
Dude, Landon Donovan's the best American soccer player, most important soccer player ever. Don't let Jurgen Klinsmann talk you into a bad decision.
Well, moving on.
Yeah. Okay. Hate mail goes to. Oh.
Feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com.
Oh, hell is real. I'm pumped, nervous, scared, just because of all of this one means so much more than Philadelphia. Holy crap. Like that was a frenemy. That was a frenemy game. This is legit. We don't like these guys. This is nasty. This is going to fire up. It's going to drive Facebook, Twitter, Reddit all mad all week. The closer we get, the more it gets, the more the prices go up. Wow.
Yeah,
$1 million, $1 million gets you 8 Bailey tickets. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, that's ridiculous. No, the stakes in this one are incredibly high, right? I mean, it's bragging rights on the third game, right? So we split the difference, home and away, and now this will be the third one to determine the season, like who won, and then who gets knocked out of the playoffs. So, yikes! It's either going to be doubly sweet or doubly sour.
Yeah, all the debate of who do you want, Orlando or Columbus, is just out the window. Like, this is what it is. And Columbus could arguably be a better fit for FC Cincinnati to play. I'll put it this way. Bryan and I were talking a little bit before we came in live tonight. Columbus is way more offensively heavy, but defensively matches up a lot better to FC Cincinnati because we've got the attack, and I don't think Columbus knows how to handle it.
Yeah, we had that disagreement. So I think I'll put it to you this way, Boston, is that we faced 3 attackers from Philly this weekend. We're only going to face 3 defenders this weekend from Columbus. It couldn't be more different in terms of how they're going to move forward. But I think if we can stay as positionally aware as we were this week, and knowing that they're gonna drive deep and they're gonna try to switch that attack across the front, and if we can stay there, and if Mosquera is ball hawkish as he was this week, man, I feel great. I think that our defense, and to your point, it suits up very well against a Columbus team when you have Mosquera and you have Miazga in there, hopefully, because Mosquera is pacey. He's a great emergency defender. He can snuff out plays. And while Murphy got torn up as the center back of a back 3 versus Columbus there, he's not going to have to defend that way. We've had a lot more game time with this back line as is. Murphy's playing a hell of a lot more. And while Rossi is tremendous and Cucho is, to me, probably one of the best 3 players in the league, I still feel very confident that we can get this done at home if Miazga's there.
Yeah, but you have to so here's the thing that's so much different about it.
Oh,
you have to like that. Whereas Philly played us defensively, Columbus is going to be vulnerable. They're going to leave their back 3 exposed. They're gonna come at you, and they're gonna come at you with a lot more guys than Philadelphia did. In my opinion, this is gonna be night and day. These games are gonna be night and day.
I'm going to step in and say that I don't sleep on the Columbus defense. This is not the defense that we beat 3-2 at home. We're not playing against Gustavo Vallecilla in the back line. They've got Rudy Camacho from CF Montreal in the mid-season. They've got Malte Amundsen, who's been one of the better offensive center backs in the league since the middle of the season. And the goalkeeper that's not Eloy Room.
Schulte.
Yeah, the
Schulte.
young guy they got from Crew 2.
I know that he made that mistake that led to the winning goal earlier in the season, but he has changed his outlook. He is much better goalkeeper than he was the past games. This is not the same defense that we played earlier this season.
Fair.
We have to be prepared for a better defense.
Fair, but I still think this is a game that you see a little bit more from Brandon Vasquez because now he's a little bit more of a threat. Bupenza and Acosta and Barrial. Columbus can't throw bodies forward and defend all of FC Cincinnati's weapons. This is where you end up in a theoretical multi-goal.
How are we gonna play it though? Are we gonna play Arias or are we gonna play Gaddis? And if you have to have both attacking fullbacks for what you say, because we're still going to be conservative with Moreno and whoever that second midfielder is. So it could be 3v3, that's tough, man. That's super tough. Those three back guys like that. At the end of the day, I still feel I kind of go to your point. I think we have a little bit more depth. We have a little bit more levers to pull. Columbus is still very freaking good. They could bring in Gressel. They can bring on Ramirez. This game goes 120. I think we're built for it better than they are.
I think the X factor is the stadium. I think the fact that it's at home.
Amen.
I think, take it to lower.com and it could turn the other way pretty easy.
Do you put the Crew's road form this year is that part of the reason they've had not as good road form? They've done amazing at home, but they're up there. It's a hit or miss on the road. Bill, is that where you're coming from?
No, I'm just saying I think any stadium you go to gives you an advantage. And I think that TQL is a fortress. I think that we always play better ourselves there. We get an edge by playing there. I think the fans support the team feels it. I think they feel the energy and the pressure from the fans, and I think we'll drive them to do better. I think if we're not there and they're at lower.com, I think lower.com is, to give them some credit, also a pretty decent stadium for them to play in. And I think it would give them that slight edge. I think these teams are matched up pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know that I see, us winning this game 3-0 or anything like that. I mean, this is going to be a tight, tough game.
They're a wacky team. They destroyed Atlanta. They got creamed by Atlanta. And then they go back to lower.com and do fine.
Yeah.
And then Orlando is like a nothing game until a red card. So weird, quirky team, and you're never quite sure how they're going to come out.
The important thing is that the Crew played a very defensive team in Orlando, a team that really was still pretty gun shy in terms of playing an offensive styled game. And once they fell onto that red card, they had nothing left. All they could do is just hold on, pray for penalty kicks, but they had to get through another 30 minutes to do it. The Crew took advantage of that. I don't see us being that Orlando team unless we do get the red card. Knock on whatever wood this is on my desk.
Are you saying defensive or?
I'm saying that our offense has more artillery to it than Orlando has.
I agree.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Because of that, Orlando really wasn't playing to beat them in an offensive form. They were hoping they could control them for a good portion of the game.
I'm trying to bring this up here. I can't find it now. I'm sorry. Carnes. Okay. Ty Carnes. Direct boop versus Neymar boop. And the fact that, if you can get Bupenza into open space, he's significantly more dangerous, because if we're like versus Philly and they're tight and we can't get the ball to the right foot, the correct foot, not right foot, the correct foot on Bupenza, Barrial, Lucho, Vasquez, we're in a ton of trouble. So I think this game, kind of to Boston's point, sets up a little bit better for us. Don't put too much stock in either of the previous games, because
it's an elimination playoff game.
It's an elimination playoff game. The players are wildly different.
Mhm.
I mean, you could look at the first FCC versus Columbus game. You go, oh, that could have been won 6-2 easy. Like we had a goal called back. We had 2 balls cleared off the line. The game in Columbus, I think we still had one goal called back, and it was early goals. I think it's all going to be if anybody scores early.
Mhm. I
But
did a temperature check today on Columbus fans, and they're kind of in the same headspace. They know they're an inconsistent team. They know they perform absolute bonkers at times, and then horrific on the road at times. And so, the inconsistency is the problem, right? If you're a Crew fan going into this, you're so nervous about the inconsistency. You're nervous about being on the road. And how much of I think Bill's got it. I think that's the X factor, and that's what I think tilts this in FC Cincinnati's favor with the odds makers and all that before the match. But we're still gonna have to perform. We're still gonna need our guys, our DPs, to come in clutch. You know, in my opinion, this game is on Lucho Acosta. This game is on Obi if he's out there. This game is on.
Sure.
You know, Bupenza. We need those guys to perform. Brandon Vasquez, if you want to go to Europe, here's your calling card. Like this is where all the eyes are going to be. So make your big step. You know, he's kind of been like more of a decoy or silent in the playoffs. So make your statement here. And
the talent's going to pull through.
Yeah. Depth, Bryan. Columbus is a deep team. Depth versus our depth.
So their depth is their ability to bring on attackers. So if you look at their team, bring it up here. My bad, dude. The fact that you can bring on Kevin Molino, you can bring on Russell Rowe, you can bring on Ramirez. If they get down, they're not out for the count. But that group really drops off in the midfield, really drops off in the defense. So I think, again, if we can, I mean, I want to end the game in 90, but I do feel like if we can get to 120, I feel like we set up fairly well against these guys. I don't want to go to penalties because, you know, they're very heavily offensive, but I just think that this is a great testament to the Eastern Conference and in Major League Soccer. You have 2 great teams. This is going to be a great showing, and hell is real, baby. I want it so bad.
Let's not forget that whoever wins this game hosts the MLS Cup. That it's not going to a Western Coast team. It's not going to Houston. It's staying in Ohio. So regardless, you're going to have the excitement coming to the arguably the best soccer state in the United States.
I like that.
I don't think that's arguable.
No.
Neither does the U.S. men's national team. I don't think they like playing here. So yeah, this is going to be a big one. We hope to see everybody down there Saturday if you can make it. Let's get in. I think unless you guys have any more thoughts, you want to talk about tickets or any of that, we'll just jump right into our final thoughts. We're already going a little bit long. And first up, Mr. Wolf.
So we skipped over the Miazga story. I didn't know if we wanted to touch on that at all, but well, yeah, I guess I'll put that in my final thought then. So, still no news. Certainly don't want to jinx things, but it does feel like, if they were going to give news, they have to give it pretty quick. I think realistically it would be, I don't want to say unfair because, who's going to say that they'd be fair, but you can't expect a team to go through training, right, for 2 or 3 days and then pull a critical player out of that team at the last minute before a game. So, the longer this goes, it almost certainly indicates that Miazga plays. I can't see it going past tomorrow without them having to basically just acknowledge they're going to have to let it ride. I personally kind of feel that maybe MLS is dragging their feet a little bit on this investigation, and just they're going to wait until the end of the year and decide what they decide. But we'll see.
Slap them with a fine now and call it a day, and we'll all be happy.
Exactly. But other final thoughts back to what I said as well. I think the X factor for this game is the stadium. I think the X factor is the fans. Again, the players got to step up as you just said, but this is going to take all of us. We are the 12th man. We need everyone in that stadium making noise, standing up, screaming, shouting, giving the players that edge and letting them know that, we believe in them and that we want to see goals, and we want to see, the final, the cup itself here in Cincinnati.
Mhm.
And I think if we're there, we're gonna give the players that extra boost of energy they need, and we'll bring home the cup.
If we make MLS Cup, you guys want to do a live show? Does that sound fun?
Who would've
Hell
thought of
yeah,
that?
baby. Let's freaking do it. Let's go.
We'll see. We'll see. I was a little delayed. I was hoping for more optimism from the get-go.
Well, it
But
just takes a lot more work from this guy over here.
that's true. Brian and Brad do all the work on our live shows. And if you're listening,
Who's Brad? I don't know who that guy is. I don't know who Brad
So-
is. He looks like me, but love you,
What-
bud.
I love live shows because I just show up and magically somehow everything has been set up and
Rundown.
yeah,
everything.
it's beautiful. I don't know how it happens, but we have a soccer fairy that just does all this work for us. All right, Geoff, final thoughts.
I just someone sent me the picture of what Lucho's shoes were. All I can say is I'd have to sell a ticket to the Bailey this week to be able to afford those things.
There you go.
Woo, they look good, but they look really expensively good. Just basically, I don't know what else there is to say this early in the week. I think we're going to see a lot more of the details come out in terms of who's going to be healthy, who's going to be ready. Are we going to actually see Wilfred Nancy play Julian Gressel in a game? A lot of these questions are still have to be asked, and it's a Monday. So let's be patient. Let's ramp ourselves up. But once Saturday does hit, we want everybody to be there for 90 minutes plus, however minutes afterwards.
Brian.
So I don't want to use this completely for the Eastern Conference final, but I'm going to. We started this show 8 years ago to get people involved and get people invested in something that we love and that's exciting and fun. And it's more so for the future and keeping FC Cincinnati as like permanent, right? In USL, we are always uncertainty. Now MLS, it's kind of it's given, unless pro rel, truthers, whatever. But the fact that I've got to experience these games with my son has been tremendous, and I hope that we can get 2 more of these games that I can experience with my dude, and it's been a blast. So not ready to be done yet, and I just hope you guys enjoy the moment. We don't know. MLS rules are changing day by day in favor of big budget teams, so just savor the moment. Appreciate it.
Brian, I'm a big live in the moment guy, so I'm going to follow your final thoughts as well. I don't let myself experience too much hope because I think I realize over the years supporting teams over and over and over again how hard it is to get this far. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of season you've had, you still got to get through every single one of these playoff games. And even finishing first is a near impossible task in the season. And FC Cincinnati just achieved milestone after a milestone this year and beat expectations. And only one, I mean, just think about it. Out of all those games, only one team can finish first. Only one team can win MLS Cup. And you talk about experiencing with your son. I mean, gosh, I hope it happens because you just don't know when the next time is going to be. Just because FC Cincinnati's players returning doesn't mean they're going to be equally as perfect next year or as good, or that all the dominoes will fall into play the way they are. So I'm with you guys. Let's experience it. Take it in, breathe it in, experience it. It may be a while till you get back here. Hopefully not, but you never know. And so this is the best. I don't know. I'm happy, and I'm enjoying it. Hope you guys are too. Thanks for tuning in to Cincinnati Soccer Talk tonight. Shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. We are going to get you guys the new Growler Cup link. I'm going to start working on that here tonight, so you can go through that. We appreciate each and every one of you. Saw a couple of you guys out at the bars before the match this weekend. So big shout out to you. I'll get another post out on Patreon for all of you. That's it for us, and we will be back at it next week, regardless of the result. Go FC Cincinnati, burn the crew down.